Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
This is Sparta!
Back once again for another beautiful week of the Claire and Carlson Show. There are many things you can put in your ears. This is one of them, and we are sort of part of the Late Night Sports Radio Network, TBD. She is Claire. Say hi, Claire.
Hi, Claire.
At the Claire36, and we'll get to reasons why that changed. Famously of the NFL Female Podcast. And I'm Andy Carlson at Purple for the Win, the host of the legendary, elite Purple for the Win podcast dedicated to pain and pleasure that is the Minnesota Vikings. But enough of the needless promotion. We're Claire versus Carlson. Follow us on Twitter at Claire versus Carlson all together. And yeah, well, at least we're not going to be bored today, Claire.
No, there's nothing going on. I don't know what you could possibly have planned for us to discuss today, Andy.
Now, I was so excited for just us to talk about actual sports instead of what is going to take up a good portion of the show today.
Yeah, well, you can't avoid it, really. People ask for your opinion, and I just don't – there are things that are just, I think, often too big for a Twitter argument, and so I just don't want to argue. I want to discuss and then just leave the opinions out there, and if people want to disagree, they can at me.
They can at me. Don't subtweet me like a little biatch. Bring it.
Oh, is that something real, or did you just make that up?
No, when you want to call someone out, put them in the at mention instead of just putting their name. Like, if you're going to call out John Doe, put them at John Doe, not be like, well, John Doe is a little biatch.
Well, I kind of just meant like the rap thing that you just did, the freestyle, I guess the kids would call it. I know what I'm very underrated at my MC skills. Oh, well, I guess it'll probably stay that way.
And we'll definitely get to that. But hey, how's it going, Claire? You also had a pretty uneventful week. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about what's going on with you?
Oh my gosh,
you're dying.
I almost died. I thought maybe I was dying. I started a new job, and I'm in the Detroit area right now for training at my new company. Yesterday was the first day. Yeah, and then I ended up going to the ER last night for something other than a gunshot wound. It was like I couldn't. My stomach was just like horrible. I thought I was probably having like a ruptured appendix or something. There was toxins pouring into my system, and I was gonna implode or no. Go to the ER, and apparently I have gallstones. So they're like little stones in my body right now that are causing me a lot of pain. And now, I think you should be respectful of that.
Any way related at all because you smoked rocks for so many years? Is that related to gallstones at all?
Well, I've often been told that I rock, but I'm not made of stone. And that's just like the opposite of the truth, man. I am made of stone. Oh,
is this a result of your steady diet of heavy metal?
I do internalize
I thought that was pretty good.
Come on. It wasn't. It could have been worse a little bit. There's like a little room left.
Yeah. Now, I was under the impression that you were in the UP, but no, you're in Detroit, which is basically Canada. You should have her to Windsor and roll them bones a little bit. They got craps over there.
I'm good. I don't really know what a Windsor is or how to get there. I just really want to finish this up and get back to Texas.
Oh, I see. You're trying to push me and our six listeners off because you got bigger things to do. See, Claire, when I first met you, you were all eager and perky about the world, just a young pup, and now you're way too big for everyone.
I'm just disillusioned with the world, just a cynic at heart, really, Andy.
Yeah. But, speaking of how famous you are, I got to tread on your good name, a little bit last week as I was on the NFL Female podcast last Wednesday, picking division games, and that was a lot of fun.
It was pretty phenomenal. You actually did a really good job because there are times we just sort of let gut emotion, well, you do this too, but usually it'll be the antithesis of your statistical data. But we go with a lot of gut emotion on that show, and I think that you provided a nice influx of statistical reasons why teams would lose, and you would eventually be wrong about that anyway. But we'll go over picks later.
No,
that'll be cool.
Statistical rationality is not usually my forte. I will show you my sports betting ledger from the past couple of years. It was not that great.
No, doesn't surprise me at all.
Oh, please. But that was a lot of fun, even though I felt like I kind of had the shackles on as being the guest. I'm not really used to being the guest on shows. I'm used to having control, being able to drive the show into the ditch whenever I want and veer all over the place. But it was kind of good.
You still drove it into the ditch. It's okay. I mean, it wasn't that out of the ordinary.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah. Just a little. Yeah. That's okay.
All right, so we are going to get to all that. Oh, and a special segment. I haven't even told you this in the pre-show meeting, but there is going to be a secret word on today's podcast. I have it written down on the paper in front of me, and if I get you to say the word, I will bring it up with this sound effect.
Oh, good for you.
As you finally got the secret word, and I will let you know. It'll probably come at a very inopportune time when you're in the middle of a very emotional tirade about Ray Rice. But it might add some levity to that. But before we get to all of the Ray Rice stuff, and I want to be a little bit serious at the beginning of the show. I know it's a change of pace. And I want to highlight something that I came across today. So Katie Nolan, No Filter with Katie Nolan on Fox Sports, and formerly of Guyism. She's known, pretty well known for her funny videos. They're sort of weekend update style takes on sports. Pretty funny, smart, and I respect the heck out of her. And today she came out with a great video highlighting that boycotting the NFL would be stupid, and to take away football from the rational people who will hold the NFL accountable, then that would just leave all the knuckle-dragging, mouth-breathing Neanderthals to rule the sport, and that's no good. And then she also made the point about women in sports media later on in the show, or later on in her video, and about women in sports media, and I just wanted to play a clip of it real quick because I could not do her justice because what she said was very eloquent, very well put, and a great point. So here we go.
Women in sports television are allowed to read headlines, patrol sidelines, and generally facilitate conversation for their male colleagues. Sometimes they even let us monitor the internet from a couch.
Yeah.
And while the Stephen A. Smiths, Mike Francesa's, Dan Patrick's, and Keith Olbermann's of the world get to weigh in on the issues of the day, we just smile and throw to commercial. A lot of people like to justify women's supporting role in sports media by saying, well, they've never played the game, so they just aren't qualified to speak about it. Because God forbid someone misspeak about the game. But topics like domestic violence and racism and corruption, let's let Boomer handle those between downs.
Boomer.
It's time for the conversation to change, or at least those participating in the conversation. It's time for women to have a seat at the big boy table, and not where their presence is a gimmick or a concept, just a person who happens to have breasts offering their opinion on the sports they love and the topics they know. Because the truth is, the NFL will never respect women and their opinions as long as the media it answers to doesn't. I'm ready when you are, Fox.
And she calls out her own bosses at the end of the video. I love Katie Nolan. And I know this is very funny on your end because you can't hear the audio that I just played, but you just saw the clip moments ago after I sent it to you, even though you dressed me down for just sending you youtube.com.
So rude.
So, Claire, as a female in the sports media world, what was your take on her thoughts?
Yeah, she was very eloquent. I mean, what's the point in all the people who are capable of critical reasoning at that sort of level who say, okay, well, we're going to take our good sense and our good money and go elsewhere. And leave the bulls in the china shop just to go ahead and let the sport further deteriorate young minds. And she has good points about the fact that there are very few women involved in actual NFL capacities and making decisions and that sort of thing. So you're not ever going to get the whole thing with, I'm sort of going off on a tangent here, but with Janae Rice sitting in a room with her abuser and 2 other men and basically getting interrogated like she's on a witness stand and using that to make a decision initially, that wouldn't happen if there were female voices involved. And so I really liked how she framed her argument on that.
Well, are you talking specifically in NFL executive capacities, management, or sports media?
I don't think just in sports media. I think in each capacity. If there has to be, I fail to believe in any way that it's possible that there are not women out there who can do. There's not at least one woman who is capable of doing the job that 31 other NFL executives do, like, Amy Trask did, or, whomever. So I think that it's probably very exclusionary, one of those things that people just don't talk about, that they maybe don't notice that they're doing, but that there are capable people who can be in decision-making roles within the NFL, in media, in the corporate environment, in the NFL offices themselves. So,
do you remember when there was rumors that Condoleezza Rice was up for the commissioner job before Goodell got it? Now, how do you think she would have handled it? Tell you what, she would have definitely seen the video, and Ray Rice ain't getting 2 games, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, and even before you see the video, there's a logical step in between there that you don't even really need to see the video. Okay, the video. And
Claire, I'm just going to interrupt you because we're kind of veering off the Katie Nolan topic, and we have a full segment dedicated to Ray Rice. But I just wanted to point out that this is what I like about you. You're very free to speak your mind, and you're not afraid to pull punches and keep it real, which is awesome. And I love the format of the show, even though it is new. It's very nebulous at this point, but what I didn't want to do as far as a 2-person show is virtually what every other sports radio show or podcast is. Generally, 2 broskies just broing it out, just agreeing on sports. Because women know just as much sports as men. Women know more sports than some men, even though a lot of those men think, like, well, you never played the game, so how can you know anything about sports? And like I said, you're not afraid to pull punches. You get a different perspective, which I think is refreshing, because a lot of these cookie-cutter shows, not calling anyone out specifically, but you know who you are. They're just 2-3 broskies in a room, and it's just frat house radio. And I know it's going to be kind of right because I was part of a fraternity, but I don't consider myself part of those quote-unquote frat brother shows, if you will, because heck, I never played the game at a high level. I don't care. I can still have a valid, educated opinion, and you never played the game at a high level. You don't care either. You can have a valid, educated opinion as well.
Right. And a lot of this that we're talking about right now isn't even about the actual game. It's about drama surrounding the game. And I think people with good common sense can actually look at the situation and say, this should happen or this should not happen for good reasons.
Yeah. And just going over what we're going to be talking about today after that little diatribe. Katie Nolan, you were awesome, and I heart you very much. On the docket today, NFL kicked off with actual games, and we're going to talk about fantasy football, recap our pick'em from last week. It's screw you, Claire.
Yep.
Screw you. Claire and my home teams each have some very good news. We'll get to some college football takes, which a lot of it was also off the field with stupid Penn State. But let's start off with the elephant news item of the week with a little news. And the thing I wanted to tweet, the thing I tweeted about a little earlier was the comment that I both love and hate that major social issues like domestic violence, like racism, like homophobia are brought up and discussed due to sports. Because sports, Claire, is supposed to be our friendly, happy distraction from, the rigors of everyday life. But, if sports didn't bring up these topics, we might not talk about them. We might just sweep them under the rug and ignore them.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, every 15 minutes a woman is abused in this country, but you don't talk about all those other women. You talk about the ones who are abused by famous men. Typically, those men are athletes, maybe actors. But yeah, sports brings a lot of real life issues into the forefront because people love them. It's a game. Mm-hmm. You want to escape into the game, but these people become role models and idols and celebrities, and they're influencing your children, whether you like it or not.
And in case you've been living under a rock, Monday morning, TMZ released the video of Ray Rice knocking out his then-fiancée, now wife, Janae Palmer, in the elevator in the Revel Casino in Atlantic City. And the reaction from the general public, court of public opinion, was very fast against the Ravens, Ray Rice, and the NFL. And the Ravens finally did the right thing, releasing Ray Rice about 9 hours after the video was released by TMZ. Then the NFL, I believe in concert with the Ravens, suspended Ray Rice indefinitely. I think Ray Rice is done in the NFL. And then to add to that, Janae Palmer this morning made a statement on Instagram. She's standing by her man and criticized the media for creating this circus and trouble in their life. And I that's my reaction to that. We can't speak from her inside her head as,
right.
Who are we to judge what their relationship is? But just from the outsider's perspective, this just seems so, why won't she just leave?
Well, I mean, I can go on a whole diatribe about how battered women think typically. I mean, you can't put everyone in a box and say everybody's exactly the same, but there is a syndrome. There are a list of symptoms that exist for people in this situation. Chances are, very, very rarely does anyone ever hit their wife or their girlfriend, whatever, one time. Mm-hmm. It's almost unheard of. So she isn't typically, this is just the norm. I used to do social work, psychology minor. I know a little bit about psychology. Typically women in this situation either grew up with it or they believe that they are not lovable to anyone else but this man, and they will forgive him because when he is not physically harming him, he's making up for physically harming her. And so he's, giving her whatever attention and feeding her ego in a way that no one else will because they're not beating her and having to make up for it. So she's probably got some emotional issues. She probably, if she fits the standard mold, has very low self-esteem, and being a part of Ray Rice's life is fulfilling something that neither you nor I can understand.
Yeah, and it's just seeing that video, and we can play armchair psychologist all day long, but
right.
Just the zero remorse that he showed after he just so nonchalantly just hit her with the left, and then she's on the ground, and then he just walked over her body like he made a tackle in the open field or something. And it's just, you could tell that that has definitely happened before, because if it was a one-time thing, a one-time terrible accident, you would think that he would be like, oh my God, crap. What have I done? Are you okay?
Exactly. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but that's exactly what I said. Because if this is out of character for him to act this way, you would think he would be taken aback and like, oh crap, pick her up, honey. Are you okay? Let me carry you out of here. Let me take care of you now. No, it was cold. It was mean. It was just watching a woman be abused by someone she obviously idolizes is just disturbing.
Yeah. And now all the angry mobs and the pitchforks are coming after the NFL. Goodell, did he see the video? Did he not see the video? Did they try to get the video? Did they not try? And there's a lot of conflicting reports with a lot of the insiders with their quote-unquote sources. TMZ tried to drop a second bombshell today saying that, oh, the NFL saw the video, except then it fell flat because they're like, they didn't even know the executives' names. They didn't even know who actually saw that. But that was a non-story. They're just trying to come up with a second day of thunder, but that fell flat. Now, Claire, I don't think there's any chance at all that Goodell saw that video and only gave him 2 games. I don't believe that. I think he brought Ray Rice in with Janae, asked Janae questions about the situation with Ray Rice in the room, which was his biggest mistake by far. The Ravens bought into Ray Rice's story. He flat out lied to Goodell, to the Ravens, and the Ravens, they're not blameless in this either. They should have done their homework. I mean, these teams are billion-dollar industries onto themselves. They can't hire a private investigator that can't get a hold of that tape. I mean, come on.
Right. And, from what we hear, the NFL did not even ask the hotel to see the tape, Then at a point it becomes, okay, how much culpability do we put on the NFL here? And I've been called out a lot by people who say, well, shouldn't we be mad at the justice system for letting this guy go? Why is it up to the NFL to punish their employee? Well, player code of conduct exists, and they sign contracts and agree to act in a certain way. And I'm sorry, but everybody is forced to take care of the government. You should be mad at the government when the government does things that are not up to what what most people understand as this is sort of screwed up, that he only gets this deferred adjudication sort of sentence community service thing that he has going on. But we willingly put money into the NFL. Mm-hmm. We willingly put the players on a pedestal, and these guys get paid millions of dollars to abide by a code of conduct. If they cannot do it, they need to be punished accordingly. And then by the NFL ignoring this video, it's deplorable. Please don't come at me with the argument of we should be mad at local law enforcement because that sucks. Well, that's a different issue.
We should, but that's another fight for another day. Exactly.
This is something that we can immediately exact change in. And I think it's happening by the new unthought out rules that Roger Goodell said a couple of weeks ago. And by them and the Ravens and the NFL understanding the reaction of the fans and saying, okay, this guy can't be affiliated with us.
Well, the thing is that people calling this strictly an NFL issue, like I've ranted on this many a times, like the baseball writers are so sanctimonious and their excrement doesn't stink. So they take any opportunity that the NFL screws up and to be like, well, baseball doesn't do this. Stop it. But we'll get to that. But this is a society-wide issue. I mean, how many cases do you see on the news where there's a case of domestic violence where the guy walks just like Ray Rice? He doesn't have to be a multi-million-dollar athlete in his home state where he was a star in college. And how many campuses across the country do assaults, sexual assaults, rapes go unreported and swept under the rug? So this is a society-wide issue. And the fact that the NFL had to bring it to the forefront so we talk about it, like I said at the top, that's the great thing and terrible thing about sports.
Right. And, I think also that people are failing to realize that these players, by virtue of being in the NFL, they are, like I said earlier, influencing kids in this country. And the person assaulting, whenever they're assaulting, they may not be thinking rationally like, ooh, I might get in trouble if I do this. I better stop. But if a 7-year-old who saw a video of a man carrying his future wife out of an elevator a week later sees his parents standing up and cheering for that man.
And those parents telling the son or daughter to stand up and cheer for 27 as well. That is despicable.
Exactly. And so what kind of message are you sending them? And then that guy still gets to come back and play football later, and you're going to keep cheering for him. And yet we just saw a video of, what we just saw. So I think that people fail to realize how big of a societal impact that this single events of this magnitude, of this type, because they do happen in celebrity and outside of celebrity, but they affect young people in our society. And if people want to exact change in society and get rid of, not necessarily get rid of, but have it be the general assumption, like, you know, don't murder people, don't hit your girlfriend. They want that to be accepted as a norm. Then you have to start with the people who are currently being influenced when these things occur.
And yeah, it's, the NFL, it's like so powerful. Like people's love for the game, you know, can withstand a lot of these bungles by their upper management. I compare it a lot of times to like FIFA and the World Cup and the world's love of soccer, or the NCAA and the people's love of college basketball, college football, all college sports. But at some point, the nucleus of fans, the inertia of fandom won't be putting up with their baloney anymore, because Goodell and the executive branch, there's people calling for his job. I don't necessarily think this should cost him his job, but he has to learn from this. And I think he realized that he made a mistake. You know, initially they made a faint attempt to try and gather all the information just as kind of like we did the steps and then the 2 games. And then he realized he screwed up there. And then he came back with the 6 games for the first offense and a lifetime ban for the second offense. And a lot of fans poo-pooed that, and they're still there with the pitchforks. But he could have done nothing. And I think he is making good steps here. And finally, when the video outrage came out, he put the kibosh on Ray Rice. And I think that he is learning from these mistakes, and he's actually one of the few commissioners that actually listen to public opinion. Because, to be honest, the NFL would be perfectly fine if Goodell just put his fingers in the ears and was like, la, 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 and then the 32 owners just counted their billions of dollars per year. The sport is that popular. But I think the fact that he is making these moves to address the public's concerns is promising. And it's the right thing to do. It took him a while. Same thing with the Ravens. It took them a while, but they finally got to the right decision. Well,
and I'd rather it take them a while than for it to never happen. That's certainly preferable. So none of this was ideal. None of it was something that you want to see in society, but people are learning lessons from it. And, you know, next month is Pink Jersey Month, and, you know, they all care about the women and stuff in the NFL. And so I think that a lot more people are starting to see what has been a kind of hypocritical stance in that realm. And hopefully the NFL is getting the message and realizing that they need to care about more than just marketing their pink jerseys. They need to care about actual events that change that can be affected by them and their players.
Now, do you believe Goodell should be fired?
No, I don't think that lashing out at him is necessarily going to solve anything. I mean,
I think a lot of people are suffering from what I like to call anger without an end game. Like they don't know, they know that they're pissed, and they're rightfully so, but they don't know what is going to appease them. Yeah, it's like when the first Ray Rice suspension came down, and he got the 2 games. You know, what was going to be enough? A year, 8 games? Would you be fine with 6 games? What? And in this, it's like, yeah, what do you want? You want Goodell to be suspended? You want him to be fired? You want the NFL to shut down? What do you want? And a lot of times they're not going to have an answer for you.
Yeah, they don't. And I think I've asked a couple of people that, what is your end game here? I mean, if Goodell's fired, then that just appeases your anger and you're not mad anymore. Okay, let's be mad at the person who hit the girl. Let's be mad at Ray Rice. That's the person who did this. Bad decisions were made after that, but I think lessons are being learned. And lessons are being learned where the person who is learning the lesson didn't actually commit the violent act. The person who committed the violent act is also learning lessons, but his way of learning them needed to be a lot harsher than the rest of everybody else's.
Yeah, and also, I want to know, Angry Pitchfork Mob, I'm right there with you, but I want to know your mentality. Where were you before this video came out about the 2-game suspension? Yep. Where was the call for Goodell to be fired before this video came out? And I'm exhausted, Claire.
It's tiring. It's emotionally draining.
It is, because I just want to watch this beautiful game of football, and I don't want to be called a Neanderthal just because that's what I love about this sport. And for on the peripheral stuff, I do want it to get cleaned up. The NFL has a great opportunity here to spearhead domestic violence prevention and awareness. They can be the champion of this cause. And by upping punishment for the players, kicking Ray Rice out, finally, I think is a step in the right direction. They cannot go back and change the past. Neither can society-wide or any other sports league that has tolerated and accepted behavior from players that it should be completely unacceptable. But you can only do what you can do presently and in the future going forward, and I think they're starting to do that.
I think so. Throughout society, change has been affected in so many levels. There was a time where it was okay to beat your children behind closed doors, because that's your style of parenting. That is no longer okay, and it took decades for that to happen, but I think that change is happening also in regard to man-woman relationships.
Oh, we'll talk about spanking on another episode, but I think there's a reason why there's so many mouthy kids running around nowadays, if you know what I mean.
Well, yeah, so let's just close the doors and beat the crap out of them. Andy, come on,
I wasn't spanked as a kid. I think I would have benefited from being spanked as a kid. That's why I am the way I am.
Very good.
Maybe that's why I'm so entertaining, though. But closing up with Ray Rice, I hope he gets Ebola, and I don't pull that card often.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just a dwarf, troll, coward, pile of garbage. And
he's burrito leftovers.
I wish him nothing but terribleness for the rest of his life. I really do. I hope Janae and their innocent daughter have great lives, but Ray, you're done. He will never play a down of football in the NFL, in the UFL, in the Spring Football League, in the CFL, in the World League, which doesn't exist, but whatever. And give it. All right, so over under a year before he blames his behavior on CTE.
Oh God, why do you?
No, it's coming. It's coming. Ray Rice is going to have a sit down with Oprah and be like, "Well, concussions made me do it," and then people are going to vomit.
I'm going to vomit. Yeah, that will be so stupid. That'll be like O.J. Simpson's with his "If I Did It" book. That's sort of the same mentality. You save your pretty excuses and your attempt at redemption. Save it. No one wants to hear it.
Yeah. Oh, and to bring on some final levity as we close up this very serious topic that we're both exhausted about talking about, Ray is ruining Rice for me.
Oh, no. And
that's
Asian.
Funny because I'm Asian. Yes. It's a delayed rim shot there. All right. But bad jokes aside, we got to take a break. Claire and Carlson show. We'll be back after this. There's gonna be the monkey wrench.
Yay!
All right,
so we can talk about pick'ems. Oh, I think it was good.
Yeah, I think
it's good to hear men speak so passionately about the topic. I really like that. Because usually it's just women bitching and men are saying, but you wanted equal rights, but you can't even protect yourself. And, no. That happens. People say things like that.
A lot of the... All right. Ready to go?
Yep.
So we'll be back in 3, 2, 1 at 3:28. And we're back from the break. Had a little foo goodness for my girl Claire, who likes the rock and rolls, even though I thought you were a big Drake fan.
I didn't even know a single song that Drake even had a song as a release. Then I saw him at the Astros game a few months ago, and it turns out I knew one of the songs, and it was pretty awful.
Is he a big Astros fan? Is that one of his teams too?
Yeah, he does love the Astros, and he actually created Houston Appreciation Day and gave a whole lot to local charities. So, I mean, it's kind of like good with the bad. He sucks, but
is he Trill, though? Is he Trill worthy?
I don't think that UGK would say Drake is Trill, no.
All right. So, moving on from local vernacular, we have the unfortunate Week 1 Pick'em recap, which... did not pan out so well for Andy, but it did very well for Claire. I ended up with a meh 10-6 record, and Claire ended up with a sterling 13-3 record. So I'll give you about 15 seconds here to gloat. Go ahead.
Well, just don't question my authority, and that's all the time that I'm going to need on that.
So we'll go through game by game and get your thoughts on each game as well. But the ones we got wrong collectively, we both picked Saints to win in Atlanta. They did not. We both picked Chicago to take care of business at home against Buffalo. They did not. We both picked Kansas City to show up against Tennessee. They did not. And that's it for your losses. And I also got wrong the New England at Miami. You picked Miami. I got New England. And then also Tampa Bay, Carolina. You had Carolina. And the immortal Derek Anderson, I had Tampa. And Doug Martin and his 3 yards rushing. Come on.
Oh, God. That was awful.
Well, we'll get to that in fantasy football. I have a bone to pick with Doug Martin. And the last one, what was the last game that I differed on for you? I think it was the Washington professional football team and what was the other team?
The only undefeated team in the state of Texas.
Yeah, I suppose the 14-6 barn burner that was Houston Texans and the Washington team. I picked Washington.
17-6.
Whatever. I wrote these scores early, but let's get to the games. I'm 10-6. She's 13-3. Blah blah blah. Thursday night, back on the 4th kickoff, which was gorgeous. Seahawks beating down the Packers 36-16, and it was a thing of beauty, Claire.
It was, but that offensive line of Green Bay, what is going on there? I mean, I know they have a rookie center, but oh my God.
They were very thin to start with, and then they lost Don Barclay, which was kind of their swing backup tackle. Mm-hmm. And then Balaga goes down, the right tackle out of Iowa. Derek Sherrod should not be in an NFL uniform. He is terrible. And Aaron Rodgers, he can operate without having a stellar offensive line. I mean, he won a freaking Super Bowl without a great offensive line, but there's only so much he can do. And especially that defense is somehow worse. Even though they added Julius Peppers, I think losing B.J. Raji was a big loss for them. But man, they got torn up. See, I don't know if Russell Wilson is that good or if Green Bay and their secondary is just that bad.
Yeah, I think Russell Wilson, he's kind of actually like a non-screwing up Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Wait, no, hold on. Wait, no. Back up the bus. So you're comparing Super Bowl champion Russell Wilson to Ryan Fitzpatrick.
I said non-screwing up. Ryan Fitzpatrick shoots himself in the foot. Otherwise, he would be a really good quarterback.
Well, so would a lot of quarterbacks. So would Jake Locker and Blaine Gabbert and Christian Ponder.
But I'm saying, okay, the scrambling ability, the types of passes he throws, I think that there are actually some similarities there.
I don't buy the moving on. Marshawn Lynch, my prediction of his demise was greatly exaggerated. I went for 110 and 2 touchdowns and looked like beast mode of old. Actually looks like he lost some weight, and he looked really good, except, again, I don't know if it's a function of him looking really good or Green Bay's defense looking that terrible.
Green Bay's defense, I mean, I really thought they were going to... It's game 1. Okay, it's week 1. I'm not going to be overreaction girl over here.
No. This is the only sample size we have, and football is great.
Call your Super Bowl pick now.
Otherwise, we have to dedicate segment 2 to Ray Rice, and I don't want to do that again. We already said our piece.
I think we're good on that. But yeah, I really thought that Green Bay's defense would show a little bit more, but with Julius Peppers, no. Clay Matthews, I don't know. I don't know what's happening over there in Green Bay. I just don't know.
I know that I'm delighted by it, though.
I know you are. I'm kind of
we'll get to Chicago's mess later, but Detroit will eventually be Detroit. But Green Bay and Chicago, their defenses did not get any better, and the NFC North is wide open, baby.
After week one.
Game 2, the first noon game on our slate. New Orleans falls on the road against Atlanta, 37-34. In overtime, Marcus Colston just kind of whoops right in overtime, and I felt kind of bad for him. But then again, I don't, because you're a big boy.
Yeah, you're a football player. You paid millions of dollars. Hold on to the dang ball. How hard can it be? Just hold on to the ball with all your life. That's it. Especially in that situation. But Matt Ryan. You want to talk about Matt Ryan a little bit?
Matt Ryan. Again, it's another function. Did the Saints defense look that bad, or is Matt Ryan that good?
Matt Ryan has the potential to be a really good quarterback sometimes. He does screw up.
He does have all the weapons, and then Tony G's replacement, Levine Toyo, did catch a touchdown.
Yes, he did, and someone said that. Yeah, never mind. I don't like I told you so. So I'm not going to be that person. Matt Ryan was.
No, I want you to do it. I need to be called out on my BS.
Oh, really? Because that's going to take a whole show of itself.
All right, moving on.
31 of 43, 3 touchdowns. Eclipsed the team passing record of 431 yards set in 2001. Matt Ryan had a hell of a game against
Did Michael Vick have that old record?
No, that was Chris Chandler.
2001.
Yup.
When did he come in? Oh, well, it's really unimportant. But, yeah, Atlanta looks good. Their defense still looks suspect at times, but I think that might just be Breeze and the Saints playing indoors. My boy Brandon Cooks, fantasy rookie. I love that man. And it's really fun how they're getting him involved in a lot of different ways. It's very Cordero-ish. It's like what St. Louis wants to do with Tavon Austin, except can't because he's terrible.
He's horrible. Yeah. I mean, I do like Brandon Cooks, and I like Cordero as well. But I don't know. I thought that I really thought that missing Tony Gonzalez might be an issue for Atlanta, but Toilolo.
No.
I thought I would show you how to get it right the first time. Toyota. There you go. His name's Toyota. He only had 3 catches, but one of them was a touchdown, and so it looks good. And then they have Julio and Roddy still. And
yeah, Julio looks good. I think that screw in his ankle is not loose. It's very tight. Also, they went 4 wide a lot, and a lot of Harry Douglas and a lot of Devin Hester. I thought he was dead.
Yes, and he caught the ball with like his hands and things. And
he's what the Bears were trying to do for so many years.
I know, it was pretty good. Watching the Falcons offense was actually fun this time.
And we'll see. New Orleans is on the road again in week 2. They play their home opener against the Vikings on week 3. And I don't know. We'll see. They look fallible, but they're a much different team away from that Superdome, that's for sure. And That's a smooth segue into game number 3, Vikings at Rams. I didn't catch the game, Claire. What happened?
Oh, my gosh.
Well,
okay, Cordero, he ran for 102 yards.
On 3 carries.
3 carries. With a 67-yard scoring run.
And it was beautiful because this is what I wanted to see because Norv in the preseason, Cordero was very much under wraps, and then they finally let him loose, and it's not even in the most creative ways, just getting him in the ball. Like on the 67-yard touchdown run, it was just straight up I formation, him in the back of the I, Asiata at the fullback for some reason, and then just toss right. And then Cordero literally ran by every Rams defender twice. It was beautiful. And it was awesome because the entire time that he was running, I was like, my fantasy team! My fantasy team!
Oh, my God.
It was beautiful. I was just hoping he got in.
Well, there you go. Apparently, everything worked out to your benefit in that whole game.
St. Louis were 3.5-point favorites at home. They should not have been, even though Sean Hill in the first half at times did look pretty good, pretty comfortable back there. Brian Quick actually looks like an NFL receiver, but Hill went out with a injury.
Thigh injury, yeah.
And then Austin Davis
is
not an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, he was sad. His very last pass got intercepted.
Harrison, 81 yards to the hizzy.
It was too much. The poor kid didn't know which end was up, and I'm wondering if good old Case Keenum might be the backup there in St. Louis in the near future.
I think if Keenum was on the active 46 that day, he would have gotten some run because they would have pulled Davis probably in like the third quarter because he was that terrible.
It was bad. So it wasn't comfortable to watch, honestly, but it's done and your team won, and it really doesn't matter if you lose all the pick'ems if your real team comes out with a victory. That's a new rule.
I don't know, man. I'm kind of an egomaniac, though. Oh, the Vikings won 34-6, by the way. Castle looked serviceable. Adrian was held to 75 yards and 0 touchdowns.
Hey, who needs Adrian Peterson when you have Cordero?
That is true.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but we're hopeful, and that's something that the Vikings haven't had a lot of hope for in the last couple of years. I mean, 2011 was 3-13. Last year's a 5-10-1. 2012 was a fluke playoff year, but that still felt kind of down because Leslie was around. Zimmer's got this team in the right direction. The offense looks a lot more innovative than the last few years under Norv. And 34-6, an ass-kicking on the road as road underdogs. Can't sneeze at it, even though a lot of Vikings fans are kind of, they want to say it the realists, except they're really Debbie Downers. They're like, it was just the Rams, though.
Right, exactly. I mean, you can be realist or you can be normal and look at a game objectively and just say, okay, well, we beat an NFL team who was playing their starters, so suck it, everybody.
Yeah. But we'll see. If we can get a win in week 2 at home against the Patriots, even though they lost last week, then I'll start to be really impressed. Moving along, we've got a bunch of games to get to. Browns at Steelers. Browns, Hoyer kind of shat the bed early on. Steelers were giving it to him, but Browns came back. Steelers finally prevailed 30-27. Sean Sweetson with the ugliest game-winning kick I've ever seen in my life. And also...
Oh, yeah. Mortal Kombat happened in this game. And it was
Antonio Brown.
It was one of those violent things that you probably, after saying things that I just said in the Ray Rice segment, I shouldn't think that's cool. But it was kind of awesome at the same time. So if you tell me when I said that, I'll just call you a liar. But I think a lot of people in the league actually ended up having fun with it. Antonio Brown said he talked to the punter. Spencer Lanning. I couldn't remember his first name after the game, and said that he had a sense of humor about it. And so Spencer Lanning actually tweeted later. He said, wait. When did this happen? And it was, a picture of the kick to the face where Antonio Brown just goes straight ninja up with his cleat to the open part of Mr. Punter's helmet. And he's about 2.5, 3 feet in the air.
Boom.
Yeah. So it could have used some Batman where those little thought clouds, the pow, boom, kablamo sort of things would have been appropriate.
Other takeaways from this, Roethlisberger looked really good against that supposedly stout Browns defense. Justin Gilbert is not ready for prime time yet. Also, Le'Veon Bell looks awesome.
Yeah. I mean, he has his own segment on Game Rewind this week of how he was running against the Browns defense. So they're going to miss him whenever he's gone, but it was a fun game.
Yeah, he showed a lot more shiftiness than he had previously and was known as a power back, but that will be exciting no matter how much time he loses because of the driving under the influence and also the weed arrest, but we'll see. Moron's going to moron. Next game, Jaguars at Eagles. This is a game for the Andy's Sports Betting Hall of Fame. So I had Jaguars plus 11, right? And they get up 17-0 in the first half, leading at halftime, 17-0. So I'm like, awesome. This is basically 28-0. Bank it. And then Philadelphia, of course, Foles gets his head out of his arse, and then they score 34 unanswered points. So not only do the Jaguars get blown out after leading by 17, but they also don't cover 11 points.
Kind of awesome. I mean, you picked the Jags, so I don't really know what to tell you.
Jaguars are still my pick for the NFC South surprise division winner. I still believe in them. They just lost a tough game on the road where they forgot to play the last 30 minutes. Next game, Raiders at the Jets. The Raiders were in this game mostly because the Jets kept shooting himself in the foot, but the Jets prevail 19-14. Thoughts?
Well, Carr, he looked pretty good in the first half, but they just really flustered. The Jets defense really flustered him in the second half, and he did finish 20 of, I think, 32 for 151 yards, which, okay. And he had 2 touchdown passes. So, that it wasn't a complete hot mess, but you could tell he was a rookie. Chris Ivory, he totally got loose. He just busted one from, the bowels of hell, and it was a pretty good little escape he had on that play. And then Geno Smith didn't really Geno Smith too much. I mean, he didn't like Michael Vick in his heyday, but he didn't Geno Smith either.
Yeah. Oh, backtracking real quick. Browns. Yeah. Do you think it's time to put Manziel in?
Oh, I kind of like him on the bench until the bye week.
I suppose. Let him get all of his lumps in since they play Baltimore on Thursday this week, and week 5. Let him play.
Let him think that you really believe he's not as good as Brian Hoyer for a little while. Play a little bit of game with Johnny Manziel's ego. I don't think that would be a bad thing.
And I still think Brian Hoyer is just a guy.
He is a guy. I mean,
if he was from Crete or like the Isle of Santorini, he would not be starting for the Cleveland Browns. But just because he's a hometown boy down good, that's the only reason he's starting.
Yeah, well, that happens.
He's very meh. Next game, Bengals at Ravens. They prevail on the road 23-16. The Ravens, their whole running game and the whole Gary Kubiak zone blocking scheme. One cut and go, not so much. And since they cut Ray Rice, who was going to be suspended anyways, but they're in trouble.
I don't really know exactly what is going on right now with Gary Kubiak's offense. They basically, even Joe Flacco said it, they just played about as bad as you can in terms of just simple, fundamental things. Flacco threw, I'm looking for the number of passes he actually threw.
62 attempts.
Yes. Okay. How does that happen? And you score 16 points.
It wasn't even that high scoring of a game. 23-16, and by the stat book, Dalton put it up 38 times, which is not ideal for them either.
Right.
But 62 passes.
I mean, Kubiak he has been since his days in Denver, a run first sort of guy, and so it just makes you wonder. He's worked with Justin Forsett in Houston before. I was surprised he didn't lean more on Justin Forsett, but Bernard Pierce, okay, he had 2 yards a carry. Justin Forsett had 70 yards on 11 carries, and I just thought he would do more with the running game, and I don't know why he was so dependent upon Joe Flacco trying to get the ball down the field whenever those short little passes, and then taking that sack. Oh, just go out of my face, Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's everything.
Oh, it's a good thing that they're paying him $1 bajillion.
Yeah, whatever it is, double it.
Yeah. My 2 takeaways from the game, Adrian Green is pretty aight. And also, Steve Smith has a little bit left in the tank. It's going to be interesting to see when the Ravens host the Panthers in Week 4. There will be blood.
I hope so. But I hope it's not Justin Forsett, because I think I'm going to pick him up on the waiver wire.
Yeah, you do that. Next game is a game that we both got wrong. Chicago Bears, the monsters of the Midway, could not hold off the lonely Buffalo Bills, who were staying in Buffalo, by the way. They lose in overtime, 23-20. In overtime, Fred Jackson completely destroyed Chris Conte, R.I.P. Chris Conte. And thoughts from this game?
The first half, I was like, go, Jay, go. And then the interception started, and he's just Jay Cutler, and I don't know. You didn't expect Chicago's defense to improve, really. You hoped it would, but you didn't hope it would. I kind of hoped it would.
Well, you think it would with the additions of Jared Allen, and then they drafted that kid Kyle Fuller out of Virginia Tech, but no.
Yeah, it was pretty awful, and the Bills, I don't know. The Bears went into the half trailing, and then they ended the game trailing, obviously, with the loss, and I was surprised it even went to overtime, to be honest, but I don't know. There just wasn't enough pressure from Jared Allen. There were just horrible decisions by Jay Cutler, and I don't even know what to expect from the Bears right now.
Yeah, their defense is much better. Plus, if you give up 193 yards rushing to the Buffalo Bills.
Yes.
Yeah. E.J. Manuel, played with himself, did the whole game manager thing. He didn't screw up too bad except for that one pick. And Buffalo's going to win any games this year. That's probably how they're going to have to do it. Fred Jackson, C.J. Spiller, Anthony Dixon, the three-headed monster just kind of carrying the load. Yeah,
and also Matt Forte, he actually had a really good game.
Yes,
he was one bright spot. He had 82 yards rushing and 87 receiving. And so, he was like pretty much the only thing that was a little bit interesting about the game if you are a Bears fan. But the Bills are staying in Buffalo. That all happened today. So yay for you, Buffalo Bills fans.
And they're going to burn all of the Bon Jovi CDs that they have. And you don't have many of them.
Going to, or have they already done that?
They probably already did that.
I think it's been done.
Let's motor through the last couple of games here. Of course, we have to give you time for this. The Washington professional football team goes into Houston and loses 17-6. Ryan Fitzmagic's it. RG3, not so great. JJ Watt is still aight. And JD Clowney, not going to be aight for 4 to 6 weeks. Claire, go.
Okay. Ryan Fitzmagic didn't screw it up, okay? He didn't have the greatest game on earth in the history of time, but you know what he didn't do? He didn't turn the ball over. And that is a miracle in and of itself. He had over a 100 quarterback rating. I think it was like 103. Only threw for 206 yards. Of course, he only threw 22 passes, but he didn't screw it up. Arian Foster came back, and he had just over 100 yards. He did have a fumble. J.J. Watt. Okay. Yeah. Honestly.
Pay him more. Extend him longer.
That's exactly my NFL Female article that I haven't been able to send out yet because I haven't had time to finish it. So I may as well just read it on the air to you. I'm just kidding. But can we just take the $100 million 6-year contract, multiply it by itself, go ahead and exponent to the 100th power, and then times that times 10, and then give him that. Because if that's the amount, that's probably still not enough. He is amazing. He had 2 tackles for losses, including a sack, a batted down pass, a recovered fumble, a block extra point, and he hurried RG3 5 times. One man did that. One. And that man just signed a contract for $100 million, and he did that. So, he's pretty good. Jadeveon Clowney, not so good.
Yeah, that'd be fine. And your boy Arian Foster looked pretty good, 27 carries for a $103. Andre Johnson looked eyed again. What's the blue kid's name? What was his name? What's his first name?
Alfred Blue.
Alfred Blue
so
with the block, punt, and touchdown. Next, Arian Foster. Book it.
Okay, that's cool. Also, DJ Swearinger had a strip fumble recovery, and that was really cool because he's my new guy. He's awesome.
That's what I got for you. Next game, Titans at Chiefs. The Titans go into mighty Arrowhead and down the Chiefs, who did not show up for the game, 26-10. I'm really glad I picked the Jets in my survivor Liverpool over the Raiders because I was really strongly going Chiefs because I thought the Titans were going to be terrible. But no, it was the Chiefs who were terrible in this game. And it's just like, Jamal Charles ended up with blah, blah, blah points. Alex Smith did not look comfortable at all. And by the way, the fans at Arrowhead.
My God.
Great atmosphere, great fans. They always sell out Arrowhead, which is one of the largest stadiums in the league. But come on, that place was half empty by the start of the third quarter.
It wasn't even half empty. I mean, by the fourth quarter, it was like ghost town in there. There were just players on the field. That was obnoxious, man. I'm not down with that.
You don't want to call them fair weather because they have one of the best fan bases in the league, but they're pretty fickle. We'll say that, and I don't really blame them because the Chiefs were embarrassing, and they also lose Mike DeVito and Derek Johnson for the year, two very key pieces for that defense, especially Derek Johnson. Where did Derek Johnson go to school, Claire? What school was that?
Oh, God. Do I have to address your questions? Really?
Tejas. Except you can rub it in about Texas later. They go down to BYU pretty hard.
Is that anything to be proud of?
The Chiefs could literally go 0-16 this year.
Okay, game one. Let's calm down a little baby bit. Just a tiny bit.
Jamal Charles, if he gets dinged up again, like if he has a freak accident like he did when he tore an ACL slipping on the first down marker, it's over. The Chiefs are going to be 0-16 because they are terrible. Or maybe the Titans are just that good.
No, I don't think the Titans are that good. But
Sorry,
it was the first game.
Yeah.
Things happen, and things can develop, and teams can adapt.
All right, Turbo Style, the last 1 o'clock start. Patriots go down to Miami, where they sometimes struggle. Birth of the Wildcat was down there. They were leading 20-10 at halftime. Not so much at the end of the game. Dolphins win 33-20. Tom Brady looks mortal. They got after him. Cameron Wake and those boys did. Noshawn Moreno looked good. Mike Wallace resurfaced. Bill Lazor, the new offensive coordinator, looks serviceable. As does Tannehill, your A&M boy.
I know. I saw him.
Tannehill is the quarterback BJ before Johnny.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know that. And he was not even a quarterback until I think his junior year. He was a wide receiver before that. So he's very young in quarterback years, and he actually looks pretty good. 18-32. He threw an interception. He only had 178 yards, but he didn't ruin the game.
He looked better than RG3.
Well, yeah. I mean, I stepped on a dog turd this morning that looked better than RG3 looked on Sunday.
That's racist.
Oh, God, shut up.
First of the late games, Panthers at Bucks. This is the one that one of the ones that we missed on. Well, you got it right. I missed. Buccaneers did not show up at home. Josh McCown throws one of the worst interceptions I've ever seen in my life. Jaworski Lane is the most dynamic running back for the freaking Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who was my pick on the NFL Female Show to win the NFC South. Not so much. Kelvin Benjamin looks great. Derek Anderson looks alive. They win 20-14. A very big on-the-road in-division game in Week 1 and blah.
Well, yeah. I didn't expect – I mean, I made my pick before I knew Cam was going to be out of the game. And I would have figured Cam would have had to play the game for the Panthers to actually win the game. And turns out that wasn't the case. So that's cool for the Panthers, I guess, and for my record.
Oh, good for you.
Oh, my God. I don't know. Josh McCown, it's like he just sort of lost it there for a sec. And you want to know who the leading rusher was for Tampa Bay?
Jaworski Lane.
Yeah, I like him.
Texas A&M, the fat guy.
But you know who wasn't the leading rusher for
Doug Martin.
Tampa Bay?
Oh, no. Oh, we'll talk about fantasy football here at the...
I'm talking about the real game. I'm saying...
No, there's only one thing that matters, and that's fantasy football. It doesn't matter that Mankins got hurt and Doug Martin is hurt, and this is going to severely impact their whole running game and my whole fantasy hopes and dreams. And I won Week 1, and I'm still this upset.
Hey, you want to know who looked really good?
Hell.
Was that I don't know what that was.
Who?
Kelvin Benjamin.
He did. He was awesome. He was also on my team. He was on the bench.
Oh, well.
I might need to activate him, except I don't know which wide receiver I'm going to bench because my team is so good.
Oh,
my team is... Maybe Cordell can get classified as a running back. That would really help me out.
Maybe you should talk to some people about that.
Yeah, last of the two late games, 49ers beat the Cowboys 28-17. The score is not as close.
No.
Not indicative of how close this game was. Tony Romo is Tony Romo again, throwing 3 picks. And, by the way, Dallas home crowd.
No, I was going to bring it up. Because you got
All right, bring it up.
Kansas City. Okay. What is with these teams with traditionally hardcore crowds? Whenever you look at any picture from any point of that game at AT&T, and there were 3/4 of that crowd, 2/3, 3/4 of that crowd was in red, and they were not in navy blue. And so Jerry Jones said he didn't notice it. So apparently he's colorblind. I don't know. That was horrible.
He very well could be, liver spots and all.
There you go. So I don't know. That was the point that I wanted to make, because screw the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys probably have the worst home field advantage, even though they have that awesome new stadium, because it's all the games seem very corporate, and the hardcore Cowboys fans probably can't afford those PSLs. So you got a lot of rival fans coming in. Like I was working on the Purple for the Win podcast, the world famous Purple for the Win podcast, and I just had the TV on in the background. I just listened to the audio, and then every time I would hear the crowd cheering, I'd think, all right, well, maybe Romo threw a touchdown or something. No, it was Romo got picked, or Kaepernick is throwing a touchdown.
A little confusing, right, if you're not actually watching the game. Yeah, 3 interceptions. So that was cool. DeMarco turned the ball over once. I mean, DeMarco, not DeMarco. DeMarco turned the ball over once. And so they looked rough. And they looked, I don't know, I'm seeing something having to happen up there on that coaching staff. And they've booked themselves solid with their cap space, and Cowboys are just destined to fail for the near future.
Their defense is going to be biblically garbage, even though their stats don't look that terrible because they're putting on a short field the entire game, but they are garbage.
Right.
Last 3 games, turbo style. Broncos hold off the Colts on late surge, 31-24. On Monday night, Lions prevail at home against a dumpster fire piece of garbage that is the New York Giants, 35-14. Eli is still terrible. And the Cardinals squeak out a winner at home with the traditional NFL final score of 18-17. Claire, any thoughts from the final 3 games?
Okay. Matt Stafford could look really good sometimes, and then sometimes he's just throwing into double coverage like a really strong Case Keenum.
Well, when the Giants actually had any coverage,
there were like 3 times wherever he almost got Calvin Johnson killed last night, and that was. I'm sorry, don't be killing the best.
There was a number of passes where Calvin Johnson and Golden Tate on one of them were all alone. It looked like they were trying to field a punt. That's how many defenders were around them.
And there were other times where they had multiple defenders on them. And then there would be a guy wide open in the flat. And why'd you throw that to guy? No, Matt Stafford. Sometimes he just gets very singularly focused on a particular receiver and can't back off.
Wow. Also, Julius Thomas for the Broncos is pretty good. 104 yards on 7 catches, 3 touchdowns. All
right.
And he's up next to get paid as well in that group of Broncos receivers, along with Demaryius Thomas, and he's going to get paid as well. And that was the Week 1 picks. I unfortunately fell to Claire 10-6 to 13-3, but we'll recover, and we'll get our picks again in for Week 2 in the 4th segment. This is the wrap-up of the 2nd segment, and we'll BRB with a little minor league football. I love college football. Up there.
A girl with lips like morphine, knock me out every time they touch me. I wanna feel a kiss just crush me and break me down. Cause I've waited
And we're back. Made it through halftime. The Prince halftime show was delightful, wasn't it?
Prince is always delightful. Would. Definitely would.
Really? He's like 50, though.
I'm like...
And he's about 5'2".
Not in his heels.
Yeah, that's true. But we're back. Third quarter of Claire and Carlson show. Follow us on Twitter at Claire versus Carlson. Oh, I said that wrong. We're the Claire versus Carlson show.
Yeah.
It promotes that we're antagonistic towards each other. Like this is a fake debate show like ESPN. Worst take.
Yeah. Worst take.
Not really, but I feel like we agree on a lot of topics. It's very...
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I think you should probably just stop agreeing with me.
It's good branding, though. All right, something that we can easily disagree on, and I control Claire on a lot about, is college football. And just like the NFL, the major story of the week was not on the field, but off the field. Penn State is fully reinstated, eligible for postseason play immediately, and they were put on a 4-year bowl ban, scholarship reduction, and a $60 million fine because of the fallout of the Jerry Sandusky child molestation scandal, as well as the systematic cover-up. So the $60 million fine staying in the state of Pennsylvania, I got a bit of an issue with that. Their scholarships are going back to 85 in 2015. They were at about 60. I don't have the number in front of me. And yeah, eligible to play in a bowl this year. Great news for Christian Hackenberg, James Franklin, and the boys. But Claire, what are your thoughts on this?
Okay, honestly, I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to it other than knowing what the scandal was. And at that time, at first, it was kind of like the whole NFL thing. You're mad and you want someone to pay. Okay, someone needs to pay for this. Well, one guy's in prison, the other one's dead, and none of the other ones are employed at the university anymore. Okay,
and possibly facing criminal charges.
Okay, that too. So the university doesn't even have anything to do with those people anymore, and they were forced for it to be that way. But it's not just the university. It's the kids who go to school there, and the ones who were loyal to the school, and who wanted to go there their whole lives. And they finally get to go to Penn State, and then they're getting punished for what these old men did to some other little boys. I'm sorry, but I had an issue with that. And maybe there are other things that I'm just not seeing because I don't pay attention to those details as much as maybe I should. But good for those kids. Good for them to be able to live out whatever their dream regarding Penn State was, that they get to go to school there and play football and actually compete for things.
And for me, I think this harkens back to the anger without an end game thing we were talking about with Ray Rice. Because, yeah, I personally am angry at this situation still because their whole hero worship of Joe Paterno led to an institution of Penn State University, not just the football team, but the university itself, systematically covering up child rape and sodomy and pedophilia. And that is terrible. And to be honest, if the death penalty was on the table, if they had taken the school out of rotation for 2 years and then forced them to rebuild like they did SMU, I would have been perfectly fine with that. But yeah, I don't really know what would appease my anger in this situation.
Right.
I do agree that the current kids there had nothing to do with this. That's what always bugs me about NCAA penalties, that it punishes the innocent, just like USC and the whole Reggie Bush thing, which sanctions were harsher than Penn State now since they had the penalties reduced, by the way. And I don't know the end game here. I don't know my anger end game here, but the whole student body after these announcements came down, coming out and chanting, Joe Paterno, give me a break.
Okay. I'm not saying it was right. I don't think it was stupid, but you're 18 to 21 years old, surrounded by a bunch of people, and you feel like it's you against the world. You're going to act like a jerk. That's what people do at that age.
I would have had a lot of respect for the NCAA if they reinstituted the penalties after seeing that footage of that student rally.
I know, right?
Just to be jerks. Well, to be jerks. Also, Jay Paterno is a moron. He needs to not speak again. And also, the wife of Jerry Sandusky, she hasn't made any comments of this, but I'm sure she'll do a sit-down interview, and then everyone will get again, and then everyone will get riled up at her again, blaming the victims and defending the monster that is her husband, who hopefully is getting treated like Otto from Sons of Anarchy in prison, if you know what I mean.
No, I don't, because I don't watch Sons of Anarchy.
How dare you?
Yep. Contentious.
The final season premiere is tonight. I am missing that for you.
For me?
Nah, I'm just kidding. I'll
for the audience, Andy. You do it for the audience.
All six of our listeners. Yes. Yep. Also in college football news, Pat Hayton came down from the sidelines to complain about a call in the USC game. Fair, foul, otherwise. An AD coming down and trying to persuade the referees, Claire?
Well, I think he said it best. In retrospect, I should not have approached the game officials. And not only is he an AD, but isn't he on this little thing called the selection
member college
committee?
Playoff selection committee, which is a joke anyways.
Right. Well, it is what it is. He's a member of it. And so he comes down to go approach the official about how his game's getting called. A little bit worth a $25,000 fine.
I felt kind of bad for Sark because, when he saw him Hayden come down and start arguing with the refs, it's like that Pee-wee football coach who's got like the overbearing dad and he's just like trying to scoot him back.
Yep, absolutely.
I coached Pee-wee football last year and all of my parents were great, except there was parents on the other teams. You're imagining them right now because there is a parent in every single league exactly like that.
I can imagine. I only played like Little League anything for like a year, but I've seen it. And there's always that one parent who's screaming at their kid or screaming at the ref or screaming at the other team that someone's not doing something so that they can be happy with the performance of their child's team. Sickening.
I'm living out my unrequited dreams for you, Junior.
Sickening. Oh, gosh. People are just weird.
Overbearing Pee-wee football dads and dance moms.
Oh! I saw cheerleading uniforms. It's not just dance moms.
Oh, yeah, you're in Texas, so you're in the heart of the pageant circuit belt.
They are crazy. They will cut you. They will cut you if their daughter is unhappy for half a second because maybe she gets a smile or frown wrinkle. Maybe the start of one, like right there. It's huge. People are crazy. They'll hurt you.
But otherwise in college football, it's a smooth segue out of pageant moms. It's still early. It's still college football preseasons. The big boys are still playing cupcakes. And why don't you tell me about your alma mater's cupcake over something called Kendrick Lamar?
Well, it's not really called Kendrick Lamar. You're kind of confusing everything, but that's okay. A&M beat Lamar 73-3. Future superstar Kenny Hill was actually done in the second quarter. They let him play again in the third because he wanted to. 73-3. So I don't think I need to elaborate anymore on that.
16th ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish also played a cupcake known as Michigan and beat them down 31-0. And it is all coming together, Claire. My big shot, my projected shot, Jim Harbaugh will be coaching in Ann Arbor next season. It's coming to fruition.
I actually was just in Ann Arbor yesterday.
Why?
Because I was watching the Lions game with a friend of mine. But I don't know if I see it as Harbaugh's future landing spot.
Well, I know that Brady Hoke is going to be gone after this year. I think he's run out of his mulligans. He's not going to be on scholarship anymore. So either they're going to throw like $100 million at Les Miles, another Michigan man, or Harbaugh is coming home.
Or, I don't know, I'm just saying, there's possibilities of other things.
Or, they should hire Urban Meyer.
There you go.
He might want to get the heck out of Dodge because he's not quite so pleasant pheasant. Because they found, so I put out this joke. Why is Ohio State's defense so bad? Because Braxton Miller got hurt, duh. As they fall 35-21 at the Horseshoe against unranked Virginia Tech.
Yep.
The Big Ten sucks, by the way.
The Big Ten is awful.
I want to talk about that. The best team in the Big Ten is the Minnesota Fighting Gophers. Hello.
Is that a fact?
That is a fact.
Oh. Well, that's pretty impressive. I mean, they're from your state, kind of.
We'll see how long that holds, because Wisconsin is still pretty good, despite being 1-1. Nebraska is still pretty good. Penn State is pretty darn good, and plus now they're eligible for the Big Ten championship game, so who knows?
Well,
who knows?
okay.
That Michigan State, despite a loss at Oregon, is still pretty solid as well.
Fair enough. I don't really, yeah, that should be an interesting matchup.
Also, last note on the Big Ten and college football, Maryland's new uniforms. Did you see them?
Yes.
With the Star-Spangled Banner on the helmet. Maryland, I hate you.
Oh, God. They're like puke. They're like a big pile of patriotic puke.
And that's good puke to have, but not so much on a college football uniform. And the Big Ten is embarrassed by these uniforms. And the Big Ten is hard to be embarrassed by because they are so terrible.
You're right. They're
now.
awful anyway. And then you throw these uniforms on top of it, and there's no explanation for what's going on in that entire conference.
All right. So back on happier topics, just to wrap up the third quarter real quick. Fantasy football update. Claire, I have a story for you, but I want to get, how did your fantasy teams do this year? Or last week? Yeah.
3-5.
Wait, you're in 8 leagues?
No, I'm sorry. I went 3 of 5. I won 3 of 5. So.
Wait, you're in 5 leagues?
Yeah, 5 leagues.
Okay.
I didn't win the one that I really most wanted to win, which was disturbing. But I did really good. I won by like 100 points in the NFL female one. So that was a big deal to me.
Why not? How is it possible to win by 100 points? Did they literally start Jamal Charles, Doug Martin,
Okay, it was
Eli?
It was really rough. Okay, I can actually tell you who they started. But in my pick'ems for my pick'em league, that was I was actually 14-2 in that league, so that was pretty cool. Oh no, they had players who played last night when I was in the hospital. So I won by 60 points. Yeah.
Oh, so. Look at you go. La-ti-da. Now, is this a 5-point PPR? Because then that would make sense.
No. They had Doug Martin, Andre Ellington, Des Bryant, Keenan Allen, Jason Wooden, Michael Crabtree. And then, the rest of their players were okay. But they got let down by everybody.
That sounds terrible.
It was awful.
All right, but I have a story for you. So in my one single only league, as I can only do one league at a time, in the high stakes league. So I was in the clubhouse. My team was good to go with 100.44 points, right? And I was up by mere 29.42. And my opponent, my very formidable opponent, had in the late game Keenan Allen, Danny Woodhead, the Arizona defense, and Michael Floyd. And baby, it held. It held.
God, I cannot believe your luck.
I went to bed because I completely written it off because I was like, all right, I'm going to lose probably by like 30 points. But the score held up, and it was a thing of beauty.
You don't deserve
I ended up winning by 10 points.
You haven't done anything to deserve good fantasy football karma.
What are you talking about?
Like,
I won despite
your
having...
should have been a different opponent. You were lined up against one guy that happened to make it so that you could win.
I won despite having Doug Martin. So that is my cross to bear. Doug freaking Martin yet again.
Doug Martin was... Yeah, that was I have him in 2 leagues. I started him in 2 leagues. Didn't do anything for me either.
But then again, I really shouldn't be putting down the rest of my beautiful team of Colin Kaepernick tearing up the Cowboys, Golden Tate doing aight against the Giants, Brandon Cooks with his coming out party, Alfred Morris doing okay, Kyle Rudolph okay, good thing he got that touchdown, and then what's the guy's name from Minnesota, the guy who wears 84 again? What's his? Connie Peterson? Is it something like that?
No. Cordero, is that who we're talking about? He did have a majorly monstrous game. It was pretty awesome.
It was in a multitude of ways, too, which I think isn't a fantasy fluke. I think the Vikings actually want him involved in the offense that much. And it's great. It's a great day to be a Cordero Patterson owner and to a degree of being a Vikings fan.
Well, good for you, Andy. I'm glad you have Cordero, and I'm not at all jealous.
Hey, hold on. I'm going to give myself one.
Oh, good for you.
There we go. And you have some waiver wire pickups for this week. Lay them on us.
Well, I do. I was thinking that you need to definitely, if you have Ray Rice or Bernard Pierce, you are going to need to pick up Justin Forsett.
No one's winning with Justin Forsett.
I'm telling you, but if you spent a high enough draft pick on one of those two, you're going to need a replacement, and they're not going to be readily available.
Did you see that Ray Rice has been taken out of Madden 15?
I think I did see that.
Which is great. Which is a good idea.
Is it?
It is. Because he's done anyways, and also it sends a good PR message that he gone.
Okay. Fair enough. I'm kind of good with it. I don't know. Yeah, okay. Well, I'll take it. It's fine. I don't really play games. So
that's what I like about you, Claire, is that you're very decisive about your opinions.
Well, I know. There's tons of things to like about me. I don't know.
Who else are your waiver wire picks?
I was going to say, if you are in dire need of a quarterback and want to take a risk on somebody who may be catching on underneath a certain Ken Wisenhunt, take a sneak peek at Jake Locker. See what happens.
Bleh.
Hey, I'm just saying, he's there.
Until he gets hurt in week 3. And then you can drop him for Derek Carr.
Until he gets hurt. Well, Derek Carr is not going to do anything for you. But that's okay. We don't have to argue about it.
How do you have the gallstones to take Jake Locker as a waiver wire pickup?
If you are in desperate need of a quarterback.
I thought that was pretty good. Come on.
You're not very funny to me sometimes. Sometimes I don't really think you're very hilarious at all. I was also going to say one of your players who's out there and available in like 67% of leagues that could be something this season that people aren't counting on. One Greg Jennings.
I think so too. Caught a touchdown. Chemistry between him and Castle is for real. I think Castle is going to keep Teddy on the bench for a while, especially if the Vikings keep winning, and especially if you're in a PPR league, because when Castle's under rest, when third down, when he needs a catch, he's going to Jennings, so he's going to rack those up.
There you go. So just a QB, a wide receiver, and a running back. No big deal.
NBD, no big deal. So this was another great week for my fantasy football team. Well, small sample size, but again, I can celebrate. And Claire, you won in the majority of your 17 leagues, so you got to be a little bit happy.
I won 3 of 5, Andy. I don't know if you actually listen to words that I say on the show, but...
Wait, hold on, I got to give you one.
Oh, good.
What one?
There you go. You'll hear it in post. All right, that was the third quarter of the Claire and Carlson show. We'll bring it home in victory formation with Odd Pet Peeves and week 2 picks. Back after the break. Claire and Carlson show.
You're going down.
Waited here for you. Here for long.
Back for the fourth quarter of the Claire versus Carlson show. I'm going to get the rebranded name right, even though we're only 3 episodes in. And we're just wrapping up with a little bit of Odd Pet Peeves.
Yeah.
And I have a myriad of things that we could possibly go over this week. Oh, and before we get into that, by the way, so your Instagram pic, you should let me follow you, by the way, so I can stalk you. But the Instagram pic of you sick with like the IV in, how much primping and makeup and how many takes did it take for you to get a good pic? Is this a good looking pic?
Well, that's really nice of you to say. I was deathly ill, and I thought I looked like Gollum a little bit.
Baloney. You know that thing is staged, like the kids of Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. They're like, ooh, selfie a day keeps the doctor away. No, like a healthy diet does.
Right. So I was really just wanting to show off my IV that had dilaudid in it, or dilaudid, or I forget how to say it, because that was pretty cool. That was live feeling. But I had on makeup that night, but then, I kind of was pukey and stuff, and so my eye makeup was all just smudged everywhere. It wasn't very good, but thank you.
It was studio quality.
Oh, right on. Well, there are filters. Yes, filter.
Like you could been on The Walking Dead, except not a zombie. Like right when they got bit. Oh, that could have been where like the blood from the IV came from. Right before you turn into a zombie, but you still look good beforehand. You're like Tim Burton's Wet Dream.
I was very gothy, I thought, but that's cool. I'm a zombie.
Wait, have you ever seen Nightmare Before Christmas?
Yes, of course.
Of course you have, because you're gothy. Okay.
Whatever. You're gothy.
That could be my odd pet peeve.
Is it?
No, my actual odd pet peeve is, since I'm going to go first, since ladies first, everything is all pro football focused grades nowadays. Even the mainstream media, like the local writers up here in the Vikings, a lot of them, instead of, they do good work, except a lot of them lean on the pro football focused grades a lot. And Mike Zimmer has made his thoughts known very much of what he thinks about the grades. And they do great work.
Right.
But it shouldn't be the be all end all, because, a lot of these writers are like, Peyton Manning had a .07 grade in the second half versus the Colts, so he's obviously not a elite quarterback.
Right, absolutely. It's not the end-all, be-all. I mean, everybody has their opinion. There are good quarterbacks who think that good coaches and good executives who think that some other good coaches and good executives' opinions aren't valid. So, I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. And Mondays after Sunday games, people wait like for Christmas morning. It's like the PFF rankings are in. Josh Robinson is our highest rated defender at plus 7 point. Blah blah blah. Josh Robinson.
So
that's how excited they were.
They were that excited?
I think sabermetrics, that it's like salt. A little bit can make your meal great, but way too much will leave you fat and you're going to die of heart disease. It's a terrible thing.
Good point. Well, never mind. I'm going to say the Astros, but no one cares about the Astros here.
Wah, wah, wah. So, PFF is great, but I prefer what I like to call the grandma scale.
Okay, explain.
All right, so the grandma scale, my grandma loved the Minnesota Vikings, wasn't keen on all the X's and O's, but she's not afraid to give her opinion. Mm-hmm. And she will look at a player, look at a team, be like, he can play or he can't play. And that's what I like to go on with the grandma scale. What does the eyes tell you? Beyond all the statistics and measurables and the whole matrix.
Absolutely. Exactly. What do you see on the football field? That's
binary code. Can the guy play? Can the guy not play? Period.
I'm with you. I don't really need to. I might rely on statistics whenever, in certain occasions. But for the most part, if I have seen them, then yeah, you're going to rely on what you can actually judge for your own eyes.
And I like to take it to the Hall of Fame players as well, because you just say the name and be like, Hall of Famer, not Hall of Famer. You don't have to go into all the minutia of, he led his team in receptions in this area, but it wasn't a passing lead back then. So, for example, of the players, wide receivers who recently got in, Andre Reed, not a Hall of Famer. Chris Carter, Hall of Famer, kind of biased there.
Yeah,
Jerry Rice, obviously a Hall of Famer. Tim Brown, not a Hall of Famer. Modern wide receivers, Randy Moss, Hall of Famer. Andre Johnson, not a Hall of Famer. Sorry. Reggie Wayne, Hall of Famer. Nah, just kidding. I thought I could get you there.
Wait, I was listening incredulously because I thought that we had argued previously and you had argued that Andre Johnson was a Hall of Famer.
No, I've always been firmly on the train that he is not. He's a very good wide receiver, but he was never the dominant wide receiver of his era.
No, I agree. I mean, I don't think I think that he was in a position to not live up to that potential. Unfortunately, it's sad, but it happens to football players all the time.
Yeah, he even today, and even a few years ago, he was always like an oh yeah as well, because it was always Calvin Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald, AJ Green. Green. Andre Johnson.
Okay, that's how we're doing.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Oh yeah, Randy Moss.
Randy Moss.
All right, Claire, what sort of odd pet peeve do you have today?
This is something I was discussing with a friend of mine. And when my team one day, one of them wins a championship, if I ever act this way, it is on you. It is incumbent upon you to tell me I'm being this guy.
Ooh, flamethrower, get it ready.
When people's teams win championships, it doesn't mean you as a person, not you, Andy, people in general, get to act all smug. Like
I don't get to act all smug because my teams haven't won a championship since 1991.
That too. That's why I'm saying not.
And I hate baseball. Anyways, proceed.
So, some individuals on Earth, when their teams win, I mean, I think in general we can go ahead and look at like a Patriots fan or a Yankees fan or, I don't know, a Cowboys fan who they have won, their team has won, and they make it so that it's like they won. And so then they're smug. They're smug about their team and their fandom, and they belittle every little thing like, oh, you're excited about your sweet Texans win. Oh, you should really look at my blah, 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 blah number of rings on these fingers. And
I have the perfect counter for you. So I gave listeners of the very well listened to world famous Purple for the One podcast a homework assignment to start an argument with a Packers fan this week, because this is one of the few times in recent history that we can talk noise about our team being so good and their team being so bad.
Yep.
And under, I think I said 30 seconds before they bring up, yeah, but how many Super Bowl wins do you have, huh?
Well,
that is always their fallback. That's their Alamo. That's their not even last resort. That's their first shot across the bow, their preemptive strike. Super Bowl. Look at me.
it's true. And you know what? On the whole, I think that I feel the most angry at Seattle fans because they are that way now. On the whole.
Oh, yeah.
And
well, they've been fans for like 8 months, so that's fun.
That too. But
sorry, Dana.
Last season, it was all, it's always the 49ers fans throwing their rings in our faces and blah, 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 blah. Well, now all the Seattle fans are being all super smug about a bunch of guys who are not them. They are on the field, and the whole 12s thing is about to make me lose my skull. And
oh, yeah. Why don't you tell everyone why you're bitter about the Seahawks carting on the number 12, the 12th man?
Okay.
It seems to hit home for you.
It does. I've done minor surveys. It doesn't just bother Aggies. Other people get annoyed by the 12s thing too. B, A&M started that stuff. Excuse me. Oh my God, I almost said a word that Andy doesn't approve of.
I swear, it's fine.
So A&M started it. There was a guy, E. King Gill, who was the original 12th man for A&M. He actually played football on the football field. And so...
Wait, how many penalties did they get that year then?
Oh, shut up.
Wow.
He actually, in replacement of... So this was 1922 when Texas A&M had their own 12th man, E. King Gill, the only guy left standing on the sidelines. And
Was that back when Bear Bryant was running things in College Station, Junction Boys?
That was a little bit before that time.
That's about the time frame.
That was a little before that time showed.
I know how dates work.
No, you don't. So, anyway, that gets on my nerves. The 12th thing. And, I'm not picking on any one singular person in particular, but on the whole, they do this whole smug thing. Where it's like, oh, I can't find one thing I'd fix about my team. Or, oh, you're not really talking about that team. You're talking about my team because, when someone's saying something positive about another team. So I'm just using this opportunity to vent about this pet peeve of mine. Everybody's fan bases get really annoying when their teams win championships. And Seattle fans still think that the media considers them underdogs, and that makes me insane because the media has been saying they would win the Super Bowl since before last season. Okay, I'm done.
Wah, wah, wah. You got to have some other pet peeves as well. Come on. It's more fun when they ring out of you because they actually bother you. Mine are kind of contrived.
Well, okay. The whole Ray Rice thing this week was people telling other people how they needed to feel. And it's not just that. This is just like one of the more recent emotionally charged issues that we're dealing with in the sports world.
Well, Claire, the NFL hates women, right?
Obviously. And obviously it shouldn't bother me because I never played football. According to some people who would like to tell you how you're supposed to feel.
That's just the machismo of the locker room.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Ooh, I'm transitioning. I'm tangenting into
Do it. We got 20 minutes. You can do it. Do it.
Okay. So, why does it always have to be about separating fans according to gender? Why? And I know we've talked about this a little bit before, but it's really been getting on my nerves lately with the talk show, the all-female talk show thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then all the commercials that have basically implied to everybody on Earth that women are either gorgeous sex symbols who are unbelievably skinny and gorgeous,
or butches
and don't speak, or they are naggy bitchy wives who men are beholden to try and make happy after the game's over, hun. Why? They have to be one extreme or the other. Women and men can't just hang out and watch a game together and be happy.
In that same vein, did you see the Fox Sports 1 college football commercial?
That's one of the ones I'm referring to.
The wife was like, he was either me or, I told him it was me or college football. He chose college football.
Yeah. Well,
why can't she enjoy football? I'm sure she likes it.
She might.
Why does it have to be that melodramatic?
And you know what? If she doesn't like it, well, then just go somewhere else while your guy's watching the game and come back and then hang out together afterwards. I mean, it doesn't have to be some major chasm in a relationship.
You want to give me a beer while you're up, honey?
Make me a sandwich. Whatever. It's just so... Ugh.
It is dumb. It is very dumb. It is Neanderthal, knuckle dragger, mouth breather logic.
They create dissension between sexes more so than I think it would exist were it not for these examples that various media throw out there.
Ooh, name some names. Drop some names. Throw some hot fire towards the end of the Claire versus Carlson show.
Just those commercials. There's that one. And then there was that
ESPNW.
Oh crap! Okay, women who do it to themselves. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Come on, Pookie, let's burn this mother down.
Okay. It's like women are saying, okay, girls, we know you're too stupid to actually understand how fantasy football works, so we're going to dumb it down for you, and you can join our ranks and be the really annoying girl in your fantasy football, in your boyfriend's fantasy football league that no one wants in the league because she just plays the cutest guys, and then her team wins the championship on accident. It's this perpetuation of the stereotype of...
It's very stupid.
It's just
and it's
stupid.
very small-minded because there are women who are very hardcore, very knowledgeable, and just as big as sports fans as any man that you could possibly find out there.
That's the thing. It's like, I don't know any women saying, oh, I know more about sports than men do. No, but I think that there are men out there who legitimately don't know as much as a lot of women I know. But those women may also not know as much as some other guys out there. Why do we have to keep comparing it based upon what sex organs you were born with? I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. It's just, I'm over it. Over it.
And smooth segue to another shining example of how women know more sports than men. Our week 2 picks after I got my ass handed to me week 1, 10-6, 2, 13-3. I got my picks locked in for the week 2 slate. Claire, are you prepared to whip my ass again?
Sure, let's do this.
All right, Thursday night game. We got Pittsburgh at Baltimore. I got Baltimore at home.
I got Pittsburgh.
We differ already.
Yep.
I think Buffalo will be able to circle the wagons, even though they're terrible on offense, and get a win at home. It is a short week, but we'll see.
No.
Early game.
You said Buffalo? You said Buffalo, right? So you had already moved to Buffalo, or were you just misspoken?
Early games on Sunday. Miami at Buffalo. I got the Dolphins.
Oh, okay. Because you had said Buffalo at home, and so I got confused. Yeah, I got the Dolphins as well.
Jacksonville at the Washington Professional Football Team. I got Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
You would. Dallas at the mighty, undefeated Tennessee Titans. I got Tennessee.
Tennessee.
There you go, Sharona. Arizona at the Giants. I got Arizona because the Giants are terrible.
I got Arizona.
Coming across 3 time zones, playing the early game. Book it, baby. New England at the mighty Minnesota Fighting Vikings. I think we know what's going on.
What? Tell me.
Jimmy Garoppolo is going to replace Tom Brady.
Oh, okay.
And the Vikings will prevail 34-17.
Oh, okay. Whatever you say.
What's pick?
I'm gonna say that Tom Brady has something to prove, and he might ruin your day. I'm going with New England.
Barn burner. I think Tom Brady. Miami definitely got to him. Minnesota under Zimmer, showing that they can get pressure, even rushing 4 creatively. They're going to move Tom Brady off his spot. He gets some happy feet every now and then, and it is going to be awesome. They really miss Mankins.
Do you think there's a chance that, like, a week after Tom Brady says that when he sucks, he'll retire? Like, and then he starts sucking immediately?
Maybe he'll hang him up week 6.
Maybe. Just saying. Okay, next.
New Orleans on the road at the mighty Cleveland Browns. I got Cleveland.
New Orleans at Cleveland. You're taking Cleveland.
Yep,
Mr.
Josh Gordon. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was saying Mr. New Orleans is going to run the table. Okay.
What?
You were arguing with me a couple weeks ago about between Atlanta and
I
New
said they're
Orleans.
going to be good. I didn't say right
No,
now.
you said they were. No, you were way more emphatic than they're going to be good. But go ahead. You can go ahead and pick Cleveland over New Orleans. Crazy.
Audio stenographer. It's her day off. All right. Proceed. Who you got?
New Orleans. Like a
New
sane
Orleans,
person.
Because Josh Gordon is getting reinstated this week, and he's going to play, baby.
And he's going to catch passes from
Brian Hoyer.
Okay.
Give it time. The pride of St. Ignatius High School. Atlanta at Cincinnati. I got Cincy.
Cincy.
You would. Detroit at Carolina. I got Carolina.
Detroit.
Derek Anderson brings home the bacon again if Cam can't go. Late game, St. Louis at Tampa Bay. I got Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
Seattle at San Diego. I got San Diego in my upset special. Seattle is a much different team away from Quest, formerly CenturyLink, and I think San Diego's got it going on.
Okay. No, I don't. No. San Diego's deep. They're awful. They were awful. San Diego, no. Seattle wins.
You're awful. Houston at Oakland. I got Oakland.
You're so full of it. You're just picking Oakland because I picked against Minnesota. Picking Houston.
No, my picks are already locked in.
Whatever.
So I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't believe you.
All right, you got Houston. Wait, no. Who do you got?
I have Houston beating Oakland.
All right. Jets at Packers. I got the Packers.
Packers.
Yep, lock of the week, and also my survivor pool pick. Week 2, hopefully we can get past week 3 again this year. Kansas City at Denver. I got Denver by like 70.
Yeah, I got Denver too.
Chicago at San Francisco and Sunday Night Football. I got 49ers.
I gotta go 49ers.
Dun, 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 dun. Philly at Indianapolis on Monday Night Football. I got the Colts.
I got Philly.
All right. So we got a little bit of spiciness and contentiousness in our games this week. Let's see who we differ on. Well, we obviously differ on Pittsburgh and Baltimore. You got Pittsburgh, I got Baltimore. Minnesota and New England, you got the Patriots for some reason. Cleveland and New Orleans, Carolina and Detroit, San Diego, Seattle, Oakland and Houston, and Indianapolis and Philadelphia. So it's going to be a make or break a week, Claire.
50-50, right? Pretty much. We're like opposites on half of them.
Pretty much. There is going to be blood this week. I have a really good chance to catch up or put myself basically in a hole for the rest of the season.
This is going to be awesome. This is maybe the best
Please.
part of the show.
Well, no. What's the bet again? The winner gets to pick the loser's Twitter avatar for the duration of the playoffs, correct?
That's correct.
Bring it. You have no idea.
What don't I have an idea about?
You have no idea the pain that's going to befall you.
Oh.
It's going to be... I'm not going to say it's going to be pornographic, but it'll be very, very suggestive.
I don't think anyone's ever even going to see it, Andy.
Oh, please. All of my six Twitter followers will be like, ha! That is funny on Twitter stuff.
He got you, lady.
Yeah. Just wrapping up, I put out on the Claire versus Carlson show Twitter page, at Claire versus Carlson, all one word. And we got some responses, mostly from Purple for the Win's official minstrel, Nickason, and he's got some very important, hard-hitting questions for us to wrap up the show. So, Claire.
Yeah. Go.
Which dessert is the best to have while watching football? From at Nickason on the Twitter machine.
Does a margarita count?
It pretty much is, because, I mean... Just
it's like a slushy.
Sugar.
Yeah. Okay, margarita.
All right, now, are you crushed? Are you on the rocks? Salt, no salt?
We call them frozen down here, and yes,
Whatever.
I'm always frozen. With salt.
That explains why you're so chilly and frigid.
Yeah, exactly right.
I wish I had my rim shot button, but it's buried under pages.
That's too bad.
Favorite television announcers and least favorite? I'm assuming football.
Yeah. Gus is always a great listen. Doesn't he only do college now, though?
I think so, since he moved over to Fox.
That's
He might do a couple NFLs. I like Gus doing soccer because it's very fun.
Yeah, that's really good. Least favorite is like 90% of them. I hate almost all the announcers ever.
Because they obviously hate your team.
Well, yeah, and they obviously hate everybody's team from everybody's perspective. That's just the way it is.
I was like, as far as play-by-play TV goes, I like Ian Eagle. I think he does a really solid job. And then also Kevin Harlan when he does the occasional NFL game.
I do like Kevin Harlan.
Yeah, he used to be the announcer for the Timberwolves, and he'd always call Kevin Garnett. He's the one who gave him the nickname, The Big Ticket. So
oh, really? Okay.
That always brings back good memories, yeah.
Yeah, I would listen to him in the car when I would be driving to sales appointments when he would call games for Westwood One. So, yeah, I liked him a lot.
Last one from at Nickason, strawberry or grape jelly? The hard-hitting questions here.
Grape.
Communist.
Whatever. Like those little seeds up in your teeth? That's disgusting, Andy.
No, that's if you get preserves.
Whatever. I don't like the little seeds. They're gross.
Just grape jelly.
And strawberry doesn't go as well with peanut butter as grape does. It just doesn't.
Bull crap.
Wrong.
All right, this is obviously going to be the A topic for the first quarter of the next Claire versus Carlson show on Tuesday. And it actually is going to be a Claire versus Carlson show because we're going to fight on this one.
Bring it, buddy.
You're going to be Ronda Rousey, and I'm going to be, I don't know, some MMA fighter dude. I don't really follow.
He's going to get his ass kicked by a girl.
Yeah, probably. But wrapping up the show, words of wisdom. Claire, what do you got? For all six of our listeners.
For all six. Hey, everybody, you may have your own opinions, but when other people say their opinions in public places or just to your face, you don't have to try and change their mind or tell them they're wrong. other people can think differently than you, and that's okay.
I don't know if that's very wisdom-y. My words of wisdom is much more practical for the real world, because every T-shirt that you wear could be the T-shirt on your mugshot. So think about that.
Oh my God. That was really like the depth of what your words of wisdom piece is about.
That is applicable to everyone. Don't you think people who wear like extremely stupid T-shirts and then get arrested, don't you think that that picture is going to be out on the internet forever?
What are the chances of someone like you getting arrested?
I don't know, but I'm not going to be wearing my One Direction T-shirt. I know that much.
So you have a One Direction T-shirt?
Or my Taylor Swift baby tee.
You know what? You deserve to get your mugshot in a horrible band T-shirt if that's what you wear in your personal life. You deserve it.
On that note, Claire telling me I deserve to be arrested for wearing a Taylor Swift baby tee and also saying that grape jelly is somehow better than strawberry jelly. That is this edition of the Claire versus Carlson show. Follow us on Twitter at Claire versus Carlson. We are part of the Late Night Sports Radio Network, kinda. Follow me on Twitter at Purple for the Win, all spelled out. She's at, what's her Twitter again?
The Claire Bear 36. I had to move.
Until that one gets hacked. I'm Andy Carlson. She's Claire Mullen. Say goodnight, Claire.
Good night, Claire.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere. A singer in a smoky room, a smell of wine and cheap perfume. For a smile they can share